Hello everyone, this is Priyadarshini Tiwari. Today I will deliver my lecture on the subject Code of Civil Procedure 1908. The topic for today's discussion is the concept of caveat. So in today's lecture I will be dealing with the meaning of the term caveat, the basic object behind the lodging of a caveat, and in the last the statutory provisions by which the procedure regarding the filing of an caveat is being governed under Indian civil laws. So let's start with the meaning of the term caveat. Caveat in its normal sense means a legal notice given by a interested party to some official not to do certain act until the party is heard in opposition. So, in other words, it can be said that a caveat is a caution or warning giving notice to the court not to take any step without notice being given to the party lodging the caveat. It provides an opportunity to the opposite party to be heard before an ex parte order is passed. It is quite common in testamentary proceedings. Such provisions is found in the Supreme Court rules. Now, the dictionary meaning of the term caveat is an entry in the books of registry or court to prevent a certain step being taken without previous notice to the person entering the caveat. Now the object of caveat. According to Mullah, the object of section 148A is twofold. The main object is to provide an opportunity to the opposite party to be heard, and the next object is to avoid the multiplicity of the proceedings. Now the statutory provisions governing the procedure of caveat. Section 148 of CPC provides for caveat. So before I begin with section 148A CPC, I would first like to explain here the scheme of this section. Section 148A is divided into several parts, into several clauses. Clause 1 of section 148A talks about the right to file a caveat. Second clause talks about the service of notice on the person by whom the application has been made or is expected to be made. Third, what will be the duty? Third clause says that what will be the duty of court after filing a caveat. Clause 4 of this section provides the procedure after service of notice on caveator and applicant, and in the last the duration or the validity of this caveat. Clause 1 says that when an application is expected to be made or has been made in a suit or proceeding instituted or about to be instituted in a court, any person claiming a right to appear before the court on the hearing of such application may file a caveat in respect thereof. So from the explanation, it is very clear that any person who claims any interest in such suit or proceeding, or who have any right to hear the proceedings of the court, have given right by virtue of this section to file a caveat. Here any party includes any necessary party or proper party. Now the service of notice on the person by whom the application has been made or is expected to be made. When where a caveat has been lodged under subsection 1, The person by whom the caveat has been lodged shall serve a notice of the caveat by registered post, acknowledgement due on the person by whom the application has been or is expected to be made under subsection 1. So clause 1 of section 148 talks about the right to file a caveat, and clause 2 of same section talks about the duty of the caveator. So it will be the duty of the caveator to serve a notice on the person by whom the proceeding has been initiated or is expected to be initiated. If a caveat has been filed under clause 1, immediately after such filing, the caveator shall serve a notice on the applicant person by way of registered post. Now the duty of court. Clause 3 of the same section talks about the duty of the court. Now clause 3 of the same section says that when any caveat has been filed under subclause 1 of the same section and any application has been made, then it will be the duty of the court to serve a notice on the caveator regarding such application. So if both the essentials are completed, if the caveat has been filed under subsection 1 and the suit or application has also been made under subsection 1, then it will be mandatory, it will be obligatory on the court to serve a notice on the caveator informing him about the initiation of such proceeding or suit. Now the procedure after service of notice and on caveator and applicant. So clause 4 says that if the notice of caveator has been served on the applicant, it will be the mandatory duty of the applicant to forthwith furnish the caveator a copy of application along with all the documents and papers which are required to be filed or which has been filed in the support of the application, in the support of the claim. So after service of notice on applicants shall forthwith furnish the copy and all the required documents to the caveator, and the expenditure, all the expenses of delivering such copies and paper shall be payable by the caveator. So all these things shall be done at the expense of caveator. Now the duration of caveat. Generally, a caveat remains in force for the period of 90 days. Where a caveat has been lodged under subsection 1, such caveat shall not remain in force after the expiry of 90 days from the date on which it was lodged, unless the application referred to in subsection 1 has been made before the expiry of this said period. So clause 5 generally talks about the duration of the caveats. It shall remain in force only for the period of 90 days, and the calculation of such 90 days shall be counted from the date on which the caveat was lodged. Now, who can file a caveat? Any person likely to be affected by an interim order that may be passed can file a caveat. And here any party includes any necessary party but a proper party as well. So any person who claims any type of interest in such suit can file a caveat. Caveat is a precautionary measure taken against the grant of probate or letter of administration by the person lodging the caveat. A caveat avoids the multiplicity of the proceedings because otherwise the affected person would have to file a separate proceedings to have the adverse order set aside. So it can be said the basic aim behind the enactment of this provision is to reduce the multiplicity of the proceedings. Section 148A was not there in the original drafting of CPC. This particular section was added by 97 was added in the year 1976, which provides that any person who have any intimation that he may be a party to any suit, and and there is requirement of his hearing, can file a caveat. Thank you.